Hello everyone, welcome to this webinar. This is a webinar where we are going to tell you about what do you need an ERP and a lot of benefits about Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. Our speaker today is Sai Raghavan, and he is a solution architect. He's also Microsoft Business Central expert with Captivix. So without much ado, let's start this webinar and make it a knowledge and powerful session for everyone today. So moving forward, we are going to have certain agendas. I would request everyone to make sure that your camera is off, but if, in case you want to turn it on, you are you can do that. And we request you that if you have any questions, any question and answers that pops up in your mind, we'll be taking it by end of this session. Feel free to type all your question in the chat box and we'll attend them at the end of the session. Okay. So today in this webinar, we have certain very concise agenda. We'll be talking about why do you need an ERP system for your business, and how Dynamics 365 Business Central can offer you this amazing ERP system and solve a lot of business operation challenges and a lot of things that our speaker today, Sai Raghavan, is going to talk about the same. So let's talk about our speaker today. We have Sai Raghavan with us. To be very precise about him, he's a solution architect. He's a Dynamics 365 Business Central implementation expert. He has been working with a lot of corporate and government projects as well in Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central implementation, custom development, AI application integration, and a lot of different high-level digital transformation activities. He is one of our trusted advisor. So he has got a lot of insights today, which he's going to share as an experience to all of you. So talking a bit about our company, Captivix. Captivix is a decade-old digital transformation and IT solution company. We have done very good on side of ERP implementation, custom development, AI implementations. So this session, we'll be talking about a lot of things related to this, and I would like to invite Sai now to just go ahead and make this an amazing session for everyone. Sai, over to you.
Thank you, Snehal. Thanks. Okay, welcome everyone. I'm Sai Raghavan, and thanks everyone for joining this series of webinars. We have structured this webinars in a way that we want you to take from basics of why we need an ERP, and then talk a lot more about Business Central, because this is one of the best solutions, the cloud solutions we have in the market right now. So we want to give you the insights on why this is the best solution, walking you through some of the functions and features, and also maybe quoting some of my real-time experiences I have with my clients and how we solve problems, and also a little bit of a comparison with the other solutions out there, just to give you a bit of idea of where Business Central stands, and we will leave it to you to take the decision on the ERP system. So this is very basic. We all understand why do we need an ERP. A lot of people have heard about ERP. It's a good time. You have to switch to ERP. But what is ERP, and why do we really need an ERP? Okay, because people might be thinking, well, I have QuickBooks, I'm able to do my transactions very well. Or, some other people might say, I have a really good warehouse solution. It does the job that I wanted to do. Maybe there are some issues, but I think it still keeps my business going. Maybe I don't need an ERP, right? But the key thing that people are missing about ERP is the very definition of an ERP, right? So it's an enterprise resource planning system, and that manages all aspects of your business, including, how you plan for your business transactions. How do you plan for the purchasing for manufacturing if you're in the manufacturing industry? How do you plan for your sales, distribution, with accounting as the very base of the system, and also with some customer service solution, right? So it's all in one fully integrated system. So that's the key aspect of ERP. So yeah, you do have QuickBooks. That's great. Maybe you might have some warehouse solutions, but what they cannot do is talk to each other, right? And that's where ERP comes in, because we need a fully integrated system to represent a source of truth, right? Because there could be transactions going in one system, in one of your standalone systems, which might not be reflecting the same in another system. And a lot of times people have the issue of trying to understand which one is the right one, right? So ERP is completely developed on that basis. So there's only one source of truth, right? So whether you're a small company or mid-sized company or a large company, ERP fits for all sizes. And why do we need ERP? There's a numerous set of reasons why you need ERP. We can start off saying, we want to increase the efficiency. Probably there are a lot of spreadsheets that we're managing, and people are not able to cope with the spreadsheets, updating them. There's some mismatches between the spreadsheets. Someone is losing the information in spreadsheet. It's not accessible, stuff like that. And at the top of it, there are a lot more errors. People entering stuff manually into spreadsheets, and they're not able to get a real the realistic information of where the business is standing, right? So those are very basic, but very important, and also very important reasons why people start to think about an ERP system. But out of all of these, reasons, these are the ones that you see on the screen are what we feel are the very most important aspects of why you need an ERP, right? So we'll start with an enhanced collaboration. ERP is all about collaboration. We need a cross-functional collaboration within your organization. So you have people from various departments, people working in purchasing, people working in sales and finance, and we need a system that talks to each department from a digital platform, sharing the right documented information for you to do some analysis and take some key decisions, right? So there is a way we can streamline the operations with your ERP system. You can implement workflows. So that's a way you can standardize your operational processes. So you can come up with how you want to run your business and implement that in the ERP system. So your team is able to go through a standard of how they, run transactions, how they post it, what should go in first, and who is dependent on what through the system, right? So that's the workflows part, which I think is very important. Otherwise, people do not know where to start and whom to depend on. So the workflows is a key aspect of an ERP that you can implement and standardize and let your team to follow through that standard. And the very basic as well as the visibility, right? So we talk about visibility. We need a good visibility of the business. How do we do that? So yes, ERP is the answer, but what really is visibility, right? The data is centralized in the system. So when you open your system, everything is in there. So you're able to make a quick and um, data-driven decisions, and you should be able to quickly respond to any market conditions through the system. Creating transactions, recording them, and then reaching out to your customers all through the systems, depending on the changing market needs. Sorry. So it's all done through the data, which is all in a central platform, and that's why ERP, right? And something very related to that is real-time reporting as well. It's real-time because a manager can see what the users are doing in the system. They can see when an entry is just being created versus an entry being released to the customer, a transaction being created versus posted. They can see all kinds of status changes on every document level. So you're able to do some real-time reporting, especially on companies that deal with inventory. You can see stock levels, when a purchase is being done, when a manufacturing is being consumed of the inventory, and so on, right? Also from a financial standpoint, yeah, you can see some cash flows also, happening on the real time. So you can see what's your cash on hand and what is expected to go out, at that period and in the future periods and so on with cash flow forecasting. That actually also then brings us to the last point that we want to discuss about forecasting. So now that because you have data going in and these data become historical data, you're able to do some forecasting, with this data. The system is going to give you some some um, um, some key insights on how your sales will be looking like, in the next period or in a couple of months to come, based on what had happened in the past, in the last year, the same time, or maybe the last month we sold more. So probably this time we have to increase your inventory. So that's where the forecasting piece comes in. And we have a lot of solutions around the forecasting within an ERP system. It could be a standalone coded solution in an ERP system. They could be advanced forecasting, which is now we talk about AI, the artificial intelligence. You can connect to the artificial intelligence solutions out there with your ERP that gives you better forecasting of your businesses. So again, letting you to work more efficient and then take quick decisions as you see that information. So those are the key aspects that we see, about why you need an ERP, right? But let's talk about why Microsoft Dynamics 365 BC. So I'm personally coming from the ERP background ever since I rolled out of my college, right? I was an engineer and then I became a management consultant, and the only work I did, in my career is ERP consulting. So ever since I came out of my college, this is what I've been doing. I happened to start to work with SAP, and then I moved into other solutions like Sage. Um, things were going well, and then I had to force myself getting into Microsoft because Microsoft was doing really well. So, personally, as a career, for me to be in the market, I had to get into Microsoft because Microsoft was doing really well. So the very first answer to the question, why Microsoft, right? Because it's Microsoft. We have a great track record of delivering reliable and robust software, for the last many decades now already. And Microsoft becomes a trusted solution for many people to just go in and then take the solution just out of the box and use it and not worry about any malfunctioning or any notifications, to the business because of a software, because, we trust in the word Microsoft, in the company Microsoft. And a lot more people are using, and there's no business, that I've seen that runs without, using Excel sheets, Word documents. A lot more people are now getting into cloud solutions like, OneDrive and SharePoint, which are all Microsoft solutions. It's an ecosystem that Microsoft has built, for any business to run seamlessly. So the name itself, I think, is a great. I think it gives a great trust to people. And me working as a solution architect, I can clearly still see a lot of differences what the other solutions out there are not providing, right? Compared to the other competitors that I've worked with. And I continue to stay in this for more than a decade right now with Microsoft solutions, starting with Nav. And so Nav is the predecessor of the 365 Business Central. And then when the cloud solution came out, and they named this as Business Central. So I've been in the Nav space for more than a decade now, and now all into Business Central implementation. So I think I can personally vouch for this, that this is a great solution. And talking about the cloud solution, this is by far the cloud solution that I've seen, because you have heard of Azure. It's known for consistency on performance and security from a cloud solution perspective, and it comes as a package, with compliances, to any country, to any industry. The cloud solution that Microsoft offers, which is Azure, is the largest cloud infrastructure so far, right? And so naturally, I think Business Central has a great win because of that connection to the greatest cloud infrastructure that we have. So this just then becomes the cloud solution for now, right? And then we also want to talk about specifically about the Business Central. This application, it's a role-based application, meaning you have you have a business that have a lot of roles or a lot of teams, right? So there's a CEO, there's a CFO, and then you have a senior accountant, you have a purchasing manager, a manufacturing manager. So there are different roles in your business. And this application makes it very easy for a business like that, because the interface is actually a role-based interface. So for example, me being an accountant, I can switch my role to be an accountant, and what I see on my system is all about the accounting pieces, right? I can see transactions being posted, I can see reporting of the other cost entries that's being posted from other modules. So it's all catered to the role of an accountant. And if I wear my hat to be a purchasing manager, I can simply switch my role in the systems interface, and in a flash of a system refresh, I can see the entire system changes the dashboard to give me all required information of what a purchasing manager would need. Like looking at the open POs, looking at the POs that are in progress, that have been released, that are, that's coming in receipt today, what's planned for tomorrow, and stuff like that. So your KPI and the entire dashboard view of the system changes by simply switching the role. So in other words, we can say, it actually becomes a custom solution for each of your role in your organization. And it's not it's not a solution that gives the same look and feel for everybody, which actually becomes overwhelming, if we had to go that direction. But Microsoft, I think, made a very clear move that it's a role-based application, which is really great, that I can say compared to the other systems. Some other points that I also want to talk about is it's a turnkey solution. Yes, because this has been in the market for more than more than a decade, more than a couple of decades, I would say. Even talking about also nav, so it comes as a package with turnkey solutions already built in, so you don't have to customize or configure your system, for doing some basic stuff like creating a purchase order or an invoice, or posting a payment. You don't have to spend a lot of time to configure your system, because it's coming pre-built with that configuration. All that you have to do is like turn on some flags based on your company's requirement, which is where people like us come in picture. We talk about the best practices, what is in the market, what is people following out there as best practices, and help you to ensure that the right flags are turned on and the right way of entries are being posted in the system. But we don't have a lot of work that I have to do as a configuration. I think our work comes in as to train you as how the system is going to help you, right? So it actually cuts down a lot of work from a consultant and a configuration standpoint as well. So that then becomes a turnkey solution, right? So you don't have to spend the time and the money to prep your system to meet your requirements. So that brings down the implementation time a lot. And in a couple of months, you're up and running with a system like this, which is offering great solutions. Talking about compliance, it also comes with a package of compliances on various aspects. If you have to talk about financial, yes, the Business Central offers financial compliances, including the GAAP, IFRS. There's a way you can switch between these compliances depending on your requirement. You can do reporting based on these compliances on a financial perspective. So when we talk about taxation, you might be running a business in the US and also in Canada, probably also maybe in a small part in the Europe. Your one solution actually lets you to handle those compliances that are provided in different regions, because it comes out of the box. For example, a business running from the US, and they have to run it in a part of India, they can turn on the VAT and the GST taxation, with a click of a button, because it's already coming in the package with no configuration required. Okay. Other points on compliances, we can talk about data privacy. There are the data privacy compliances out there, which has been incorporated by Microsoft, with very careful implementation. Again, those are things that you do not see as a user, but it is built in the background. So when it comes to audit, you're fully secured and covered using a system like this. We can talk about also document and record management. So when you're sending documents and receiving documents, the system ensures that it is moving with the most secured platform, and ensures that the data is not misused through some hacking or any other malpractices, because the system is very well procured. Again, it's housed in the Microsoft's cloud infrastructure, which is very, very well secured. Also, that comes with the compliances as well. And then I want to talk just a couple of minutes about the Power Platform. So Microsoft offers what we call this Power Platform. It's a bunch of solutions that this Power Platform umbrella provides. And I want to just touch base and probably maybe give you this terminologies out there, which is Power BI. And then there's another one called Power Automate. So these ones are also Microsoft. Again, like I talked about, this is an ecosystem of Microsoft. These are external applications, but yet very powerful in their own needs that you can quickly integrate with Business Central with really no effort, because again, they are in the Microsoft ecospace. So I wanted to talk about a little bit on Power Automate. Let's talk about Power Automate. Power Automate is something that is getting very famous in the market these days. With this tool, you're able to do some automatic workflows, within and outside your ERP systems, right? I can give you a quick example. Let's say you have a CRM system. Okay, it could be a Microsoft CRM system or maybe something else like a Salesforce or whatever, right? Any CRM system that you might use, and you still like it, but you want your Business Central to be operating very well with that. You can use a tool through Power Automate to send automatic communications between your systems. Okay, for example, let's say your CRM system has a new lead and you're converting that new lead into a customer. You can use this Power Automate functionality, which is actually something that's running in the background, right? So it's a job, or let's call it as a routine that runs the background. And once it's finding a new customer being established in your CRM system, the Power Automate can pull that information automatically into Business Central with really no manual intervention. Okay, that's where the benefit is. Like, you don't need to do any manual intervention there. It happens almost seamlessly, completely automatic. So there could be other systems out there that you want to be communicating with the Business Central, and Power Automate can do that, right? Something within the system we can talk about, like, you have a document, like let's say a purchase order, and you want your purchase manager to approve the order before it can be sent out. You can turn on a workflow which can notify the manager when a PO is being created, right? Again, the user need not click a button to send a workflow, to ask for a request to approve or to notify the manager. The moment you create a purchase order and you release it for the team to see, the notifications can go to the purchase manager, also maybe the controller. So you can define how people can be notified at what instances or conditions, using this Power Automate. So Power Automate, in easy terms, I can say it's a configuration that you can build based on your required conditions, and system can use that conditions as a trigger, and send information out there to communicate to people or to other systems and stuff like that. Okay. Another real-time experience that I've been implementing for a lot of customers is about the document management. So for many years in the ERP systems prior to Business Central, when people create a sales invoice, okay, they have to export that into a document, and then they have to email it to the customer manually. But Power Automate can make it much easier, right? The moment you create an invoice and post it, it understands it's been posted, which is it's final, so it automatically sends an email to the customer, right? So very basic things, but still very powerful, that can ensure that your team is working efficiently, and also not missing on very key aspects like this can be handled with this great solution that's out there through Power Automate, which is very, very easy to integrate with the Business Central system. The other one is the Power BI. That's more of a reporting tool. It's built just for reporting, and it has great features, like you can build graphical representations of your transactions almost real time, and again keep your key stakeholders well informed through the Power BI platform, because the management team, it's easier for them to see graphical representations of how the business is doing, as opposed to seeing spreadsheets, right? Or Word documents, or a PDF of what is happening in the system. So just to make it very precise and concise about the factual information of the system, it can be reported through Power BI, which is an external application to Business Central. But again, it gels very well with Business Central, um, just as an add-on to keep your business very well updated about the reporting aspect of it. Okay, so Power Platform, there's a lot more. We can keep talking for for days together, but those are two key areas I want to inject during this webinar. We can talk more in the next webinars as well. The last point, the talking point I want to talk about is the AI solutions before we get into a demo. So AI is the talk of the market right now. What can your system do about AI, right? My system cannot probably do anything about AI. Can Business Central do anything with AI? Yes. So we have heard about, a lot of chatbots. We know the Chat GPT out there. There's a lot more AI out there. And can AIs be used in Business Central? Absolutely, yes. Can AIs be helpful in ERP? Absolutely, yes. Because AI is, it's on a very general terminology. It's a culmination of predicted information based on what's happening out there that your business do not know yet, right? So, and we're trying to make use of that great information that's out there that the other industries have been going through, which you can utilize in your own business and make your business get to the next stage with that informed reporting. So through the AI platform. So AI, we can talk about just generally, there's a predictive analysis that AI can help you. So we talked about forecasting in the previous slide. But forecasting really can be done, like I said, through a manual coding. People can come with a logic on how that forecasting should be done. But Business Central goes one level higher. It's not only just manual solutions that we can write in the system, but it can be connected to AI platforms out there, because AI is growing outside of Business Central as well, and we want to keep updated with that AI information. So you can get a predictive analysis with that AI solutions based on historic transactions that you have recorded in your system, and give you reporting and suggestions and on how you can improve your business. For example, it might give you a report saying you might be required to be purchasing these raw materials because this is a season that people are looking to buy this item, and probably you have to be also doing this, right? So things like that, that seems to be very fancy, but they're very powerful, right? That can suggest you to run your business. And you might have heard about chatbots. When you go into a website, there's a chatbot. It's actually not manually done by any person out there. That's how it started, but now it's all chatbots, which is automatic. But how do chatbots help in Business Central, right? Because there's thousands of transactions that you're posting in an ERP solution, in an ERP system. And let's say someone from a management team, you want to know what is happening around a particular document, right? A sales invoice. You want to know, how did this come? What was the quote number? What was the order number? Who made this entry? Who was the sales representative of this entry? So instead of going into the document and drilling down that information manually, which could be cumbersome, with many ERP solutions, but actually it's a lot easier in Business Central. Let's start off saying that, right? The navigation is much easier, but you can employ a chat bot within the Business Central solution, where you can type in a question. You can say document number SI0014. Who was the user who posted this invoice? And the system will be able to quickly get that information in a split second, right? That you probably might be spending a lot of minutes or maybe even days to know what's happening around this, right? So that's where a chat bot, can be employed within the Business Central application. So you can ask questions about, about the transactions being posted and stuff like that. AI can also be used for, for customer insights. Very similar to what I was talking about chatbots. You can build some customer insights dashboard that tells you, how many transactions this customer has been doing so far. What was the highest value? Um, uh, what is the you know what is the insight about this customer continuing with us or leaving us? Things like that. Can be provided by the ERP system through the AI solutions. Okay, and I've also seen in one of my implementations, we can employ a fraud detection system. So I work for a banking implementation where they wanted a fraud reduction solution. And we can employ that AI where, for example, let's say you have been doing an average of a couple of $1,000s with a vendor, and suddenly you see a transaction of $25,000 of transaction that might have just happened just in between, and you might have not had the chance to see that. There could be a fraud that might have happened, things like that. The system can look into the pattern of transactions by a vendor or a customer and see if something is going fishy about a transaction. It can just bring it up, right? So, and there are solutions already built from the AI platforms on what key inputs are being analyzed to give you that trigger or that notification. So it's all about just integrating with your business central system. So you get that information as well. So you can quickly catch that and then see what's happening out there. Maybe it's a real transaction, but I think it's worthwhile to have some AI backup to keep you up on the business, right? So that's about the AI solutions. There's a lot more. AI is enormously growing. There's a lot of people out there, some other companies out there bringing AI solutions, including CaptiveX. And with a system like Business Central, it's easy to integrate AI solutions. It could be based on a certain requirement, or it could be simply taking up some great solutions that's already been used by many industries and try it out to see how it's going to be helpful for your business. Okay, so that's all I wanted to talk about 365 BC. I know it's more about talking for the first webinar, but I don't want to be talking more because this is planned to be more of an interactive and a demo-based webinar to show you in the system what we can do. So for today's, because since this is the first webinar, we would like to keep it very high level. We don't want to get into too much into the details of what this module can do versus what not, and stuff like that at this point. So I want to keep it very high level. I'll give you a quick peek of how the Business Central system looks like, showing you some um, some appealing features, like for someone who does not know what is this Business Central about, how does it interface look like, how is it going to be easy for your users and stuff like that. I'm basing it off that areas for today's demo for the next about 15 minutes or so. Okay, so let me switch to the system and introduce you to the Business Central application. I think I have to stop sharing my screen. Just one moment, and let me switch to the other window. Okay, I can confirm I can see the right screen. That's good. So let me, start with this. So this is your Business Central system. So when you log in, this is how your system will look like, at least today. They go through continuous updates, probably once in a month, and we have great features coming out there, upgrades from Microsoft. So as it stands today, this is your Business Central system, right? So I want to talk about quickly that it is a cloud system. So I'm running this from a web browser. So you might be a great fan of Chrome or Mozilla Firefox or Internet Explorer, be it whatever your favorite web browser. All that you need is the link, right? So when you get the license, for the company, all that you have to just bookmark is a link, just like any other link, right? And then just paste that link there. And what I recommend my clients to do is just to bookmark it. So you don't even have to know what the link is. You just click a button from the web browser and your system opens up. Okay. Um, and because it's a cloud-based solution, the security again comes along with it. The system understands that it is you who is logging in because it's through the credentials of the system through which you're logging in. So it's not going to ask you for a username and a password every single time and bore you, because every information is actually automatically grabbed by the system when you try to click the link, making it easy for you to quickly access the system. Okay, so the moment you put the link up there, you get the home page. Okay, so key things I want to talk about here is it's a role-based system. So there's a lot of information, like really good information that I can see. It shows me sales this month. What is the overdue amount? A lot of numbers, right? Which is very, very key. And these boxes, what we call as tiles or these KPIs, that gives you key information to various transactions. So I can see ongoing sales in one section, ongoing purchases in one section, and each tile has some numbers in it, which is actually the real-time reporting of what's happening there, right? So if I click on purchase orders that says 8, it takes me to the ongoing purchase orders, which is actually 8 transactions now with the business, right? So just on the home screen, you're able to see a bird's eye view of how your business is performing right now. And when you see something going not right, if there's too many transactions that's being on hold, you can quickly catch this, right? Through these KPIs. So I mentioned this is a role-based solution. So I'm seeing like almost everything, right? Like sales, purchases, and payments, user tasks, and then emails, approvals. And this is because I'm enrolled myself as a business manager, right? As a business manager, you want to know the bird's eye view of everything. But what you can also do is change your setting to a different role, right? You can change now to, for example, a sales order processor. Let's say you're someone who is just creating sales orders and managing the sales. You can turn yourself into a sales order processor role and just click on OK to that. The system quickly refreshes and you will see a different look and feel of the system, right? Now you can see there are different tabs there. So it talks about POs that are ready to be released. Then there are POs that are released, sorry, sales orders, sales orders to be released, sales orders that are released but not shipped, what's happening on the returns of the orders. If you have companies, it talks about the intercompany and stuff like that. So your KPIs change, right? And these are all provided by Microsoft, and you have options to personalize and customize these KPIs according to your needs. Okay, so let's say something that you don't deal with returns, you can remove this piece. And then if you want to maybe add more, you can click on the personalization mode and see what else is available that's provided by Microsoft that you can add to this list. So this is the emphasis of a role-based solution. So it's not overwhelming, right? Imagine you have a system that has everything there. It's going to be too cumbersome for someone to use it. They might be overwhelmed. They don't know which one to press, how to go in and navigate. Yeah. So it's completely taken off the list. And you can see it's a clean slate. I mean, it's a cleanly modeled page. And you can still personalize it according to your needs. So personalizing as in like not for the company, for yourself, right? So for example, me logging in as Sai, if I'd like to have something on my menu here just for myself, I can do it, right? For example, let's say I also want to see the chart of accounts. All that I have to do is search for chart of accounts. And this is another point I want to talk about as well. You can see I'm not typing the entire word chart of accounts. I'm just typing a few characters of that function. And the system is intuitive enough to still bring up on the list of options that I can pick from, right? And if I make a spell error, let's say I type in like that, right? I intended to type sales invoice, but I'm fat fingering here, and the system is still suggesting you probably might have typed sales invoices, right? And it shows you as the suggested option. Okay. And this is the thing I was trying to talk about on how to personalize your screen. So let's say you want to add a sales invoice button out there because you are someone who's creating sales invoices more often, and you don't see it in that list there. You can search for it one time and bookmark it. So that's the button to bookmark, right? So it's now highlighted. Now what happens is if I go back to the main screen, you can see sales invoices showing up there. And this is going to be saved in your profile. You don't have to do it every single time you log in. The next time you log in, it remembers what changes that you've done, and it's now very personalized. Okay. When we talk about personalization, there's actually a lot more. This is just not about like adding a button here and removing it. You can personalize it even further. For example, if I go to the customers list, okay, this shows me in tiles, like the list of all the customers. So let's say you're a company that has a lot of customers, and this is like, um, this is taking up a lot of space, and you want to see it like a list form by the name. You can change your view to a list mode, okay? And let's say you want to add um, the address or the country they belong to in this list. So it's easy for you to search by the country. You can again try the personalization option. So settings. So here's the personalizing option. I think this is the first time you're seeing that, right? So you can run this option called personalize. And it's now in the personalizing mode. And you can remove or add, some fields from the page. Okay. So it's kind of showing that it's the personalizing mode. If I click on this button here to add a field, we can see the available fields the system offers you, and you can drag and drop it, right? Let's say you want to add the currency of the customer. So this is an available option to add to the list. All that you have to do is drag and drop it, right? That's how easy it is. It requires no coding or no complex tasks to clean up your list. So drag and drop it. If you want to remove this, click that button there and then hide it, right? If you want to move the contact up front, you just drag and drop it. It's like, how your mind will work. And I think we're very much familiarized with, working with the Microsoft's Office suite, because things like this, you are able to cut paste, on a table in a Microsoft Word or an Excel sheet. So it goes with the same familiarity in your ERP system as well. So it becomes very intuitive for your team to start using it right away. It does not need uh, any extensive training for someone to learn something like this, right? So if I'm done customization, and let's say I don't want to be seeing this window here, the Power BI window, I can remove it. I just can have to, click on that and say, remove. Oh, so this part is actually hidden. So it's because it's kind of striked out. You can bring it up. You can say show, right? And it now shows up. So you can do a lot of customizations or personalizations on the screen. Sorry, I'll be very careful with my terminology. It's personalization, not customization, because customization is something that we deal with writing a code, but this is like dragging and dropping using the personalized mode. Okay. So once you're done personalizing, you can click on the done button and your system is committed to those changes, and it'll remember that every single time you come back to this page. There's a lot more. Again, we can have at least 2 sessions for each 2 hours of sessions to just talk about personalization. But that's the key thing, I always bring up in my training, because a lot of times what happens in implementations that I've seen with other companies and with other systems as well, if you don't get the basics right, cleaning up your screen or your workspace, there's a lot of tension and resistance involved in using an ERP system, right? And I think Microsoft focuses on basic but very important aspects like that to make it very user-friendly for your users to start using it on day one. So that's a little bit about navigation features. We talked about how you can find a function, using that search button. It's not even called search, it's called tell me what you want to do, right? Because the system does not force you to type in the exact function where you want to do. You can type in something as generic as like what I typed, and the system will give you all possible suggestions of the features that you can access with that thing that you typed in. Okay, so for example, sales invoice. Let's say you're someone who wants to know more about how to enter sales invoices, right? So you can, yeah, you can go into sales invoice and try it out, but you can just type in the whole stuff and click on this button here to search for help. Now, this is where Microsoft does it very well, um, where there is out of the box documentation, right? So I just typed in sales invoice and I can see a bunch of documentation that Microsoft provides you and updates or upgrades every single time they go through any changes. So this is the most updated information that you can know about this function in the system because it's connected to the cloud system and it is constantly updated by Microsoft. So you can just click that button and it takes you to the Microsoft Learning platform. It talks about why you need to create a sales invoice, how you can create a sales invoice, what are the steps that you need to do, to create a sales invoice, and what possible options you got there, right? With detailed steps on how to click, where to click, how to post, and so on, right? This is a really good thing, not just for the users, also for consultants like us, because this is an easy way that we keep ourselves up to date with what's happening in the solution. So that's a very powerful navigation feature that we felt that we wanted to share with you. That explains how intuitive Business Central is. What more can we talk? We can talk as simple as, on a sales invoice. Okay, let's say purchase invoice this time. And you're required to record a purchase invoice and you get an invoice from a vendor that has the tax already included in the cost. But when you record it in the system, you have to split the tax and the unit cost separately. So these are very basic requirements that I've been constantly hearing from my clients. How can I split that value, or how do I do the math really quick? Because oftentimes in other systems, what people do is they take a calculator, right? They look into the total value, they do the math, to get the unit cost, because the system calculates a tax on top of it because they don't want to double entry that, right? So let's say, you got an invoice for $113, right, which includes a 13% of tax. Okay, but in the system, you're required to, as per best practices, you want to include you just want to enter the unit cost separately and the tax to be posting in the tax entry table. And instead of doing the math with your calculator, you have a very easy input like here, that you can do $113 divide by 1.13, right? That's the math that people use to remove the tax part of the amount. So you can use arithmetic operations like this, and when you press the tab button or the next screen, the system calculates that. So it's an inbuilt calculator, for every amount field. So you don't need anything external. So again, there are a lot of things like this, depending on the screen you're in or the function that you're performing, that the system is constantly being updated, through Microsoft to make it easy for you. Okay. And things like this, like, it's not being posted. It gives you like good warnings. Let's say you're trying to record an invoice, because this is a very basic scenario that I've seen in almost every implementation, I can say. People record an invoice, they think it's all done, and they click on the close button thinking that it is recorded, but it's not actually recorded. As we accountants know, it needs to be posted, right? Because it needs to hit a lot of sub ledgers like the vendor's ledger, the tax ledger, and then you want to update also the purchase ledger and so on. So it does not happen until you post it. So basic things like this, when you hit the button by mistake or maybe in a haste, the system gives you a prompt, it's not being posted. Do you really want to exit, right? And then you can take a decision. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot that part. And then you go ahead and post it. And then, you come out of the screen. So a lot of intuitiveness this way, right? I don't want to get in too much into the details of every module, but just to give you a feel of how easy it is on the system's intuitiveness to start with today. And in the next webinars to come, let me share my screen again on the plan for the next webinars on what we will be talking about. One moment here. Right. So the next webinars that we have planned to talk about is, getting more into the details. So next one is a walkthrough on different modules, because we talked today that this is a fully integrated system. So I'm going to be talking about how your different modules are integrated, like how when you create a sales order, the system is triggering a request to purchase an item through the procurement module, and how the purchase order being created will trigger an input on the warehouse module, and how the finance module gets connected and so on, right? So I'm going to be touching to the next layer of detail with how the modules are connected with the Business Central in the next webinar. And then moving forward, we go much deeper and advanced, talking about other areas like manufacturing and distribution. Okay. And then we are planning to end the series of webinars with the most talked about area right now, which is the AI and third-party integrations with Microsoft Business Central, because this is an open platform. It's not limited to just the Microsoft solution. It's open for other great solutions as well, having the Microsoft Business Central as a great base for you to improvise it further. So we want to talk about AI and third-party integrations as well. So with that, I think I can conclude today's webinar. I'll leave about 5 or 6 minutes for any questions or any comments to talk about before we wrap today's session. Thank you.
Thank you, Saeed. That was an amazing presentation that you give, and it was really powerful knowledge that we got about Business Central.
Thank
So
you.
just want to invite everyone over here. Anyone has any questions, we'll take these questions, and I hope like this was really beneficial for you. So we invite all questions if anyone has, or you can also again visit our website again, and the webinars that are upcoming, you can register for the same, and you'll find our speaker talking about the different modules and the benefits along with the live demos and a lot of information regarding that. Okay, so
yeah, I don't see any questions on the Q&A session. Yeah, we can open up the floor for any questions. Otherwise, yes, we can conclude today's webinar. And thanks everyone for joining. See you in the next webinar.
okay, thank you, Sai, for joining. Thank you everyone for joining this webinar.
Thank you. Bye.